Hey guys, Spence C. It's January the 28th, 2025, and this video is the secrets to growing a loyal fan base if you're over 40. Now, if you've been watching these videos, you'll know that normally I will do a water intake. Today, I've had to do this video on the fly. I haven't got the water with me, so if you want to join in, if you want to do it as we normally do it, press pause, get your drink, come back, and let's continue with the video. So, I'm uploading daily. These videos are for you if you're a musician, if you're over 40 or if you're over 50 and you're looking at ways to maybe start your music career or in many cases restart your music career. So we're doing a 3-part video series. Yesterday's was all about getting to know yourself. So now you've looked in the mirror, hopefully you've looked at yourself, you've kind of gone deep within yourself and you've looked at some of the blockages. Maybe you've answered some of the questions that I gave you yesterday. And if you haven't done that, then go back to that video and watch it and answer the questions. And I'll put the link somewhere up here. So today is all about how do you grow a loyal fan base. So especially if you're over 40 or 50. Now, again, this is going to take some kind of preparation, and we'll put the questions down below in the description. So copy and paste those questions and feel free to fill them out. And if you post, it'd be great to just see your answers, even if you just post one of them in the comments down below, just to see where you're at. And please like this video if you're liking it. Share it with others who you think might want to appreciate and enjoy the journey that we're on with this. And of course, subscribe as well. And I will put in the comments down below, what I'd love you to do is get on my weekly newsletter. So we go deeper into these kind of things. And there will be other topics that I talk about in the newsletter, which I don't talk about in these videos. So with that being said, so how do you grow a fan base? So by answering the questions down below, you'll have a good idea. So first of all, it's about knowing the difference between what kind of content you're putting out. So, for example, there's, do you know the difference between neutral, negative, and positive content? So obviously neutral, let's start with neutral. So neutral content would be something like if you're putting out a video of like, hey, you know, practice makes perfect. You know, well, everyone knows that, you know, it's kind of sharing something which is very neutral. It doesn't really arouse any kind of great emotion either way. It's kind of vanilla. It's not really saying anything or moving the needle. It's just kind of a bland understatement. So you'll see a lot of content like that. It's very safe. It's not really sort of telling you anything about the person who's doing the content, and it's not really offering much up in the way of new stuff or a new take on something. So on the opposite side of that is negative content, which can be used in a good way, and I'll explain. So negative content obviously arouses negative emotions. So it could be something like, I don't know, if you're doing these kind of videos, it could be, you know, you suck at music and this is why you're failing. You know, this is why you're never going to succeed because this is why you're doing this. And, you know, you're a failure if you're not working hard enough at music and that's why you're failing. You know, just things like that, which don't really help anybody, but they can arouse emotions. And negative content can be good to stir up the pot and get people talking, get people in the comments, stimulate the algorithm. And you'll see the negative content is very effective with people like Andrew Tate, for example. If you see a lot of his stuff, you could conceive it as being negative. He talks to people like a drill sergeant, and talks to people, if you've ever listened to some of his content or been on his mailing list, as like I have, he says things like, you know, you're just a worm, you're worthless, and unless you do what I sort of say, you know, unless you follow what I do, you know, it's very, people react to that, you know, people actually kind of respond to that positively sometimes and go, yes, you're right, I'm going to follow you, I'm going to buy you, you're my savior, you know, and then other people hate him with a vengeance and engage in the content that way. So negative content can be good, and a lot of the time it's not very authentic, because a lot of people say this stuff just to stir up an argument, to stir up a fight. They don't necessarily fully believe it themselves. but they just know it'll get a reaction. So, but used in the right way and in sparingly, it can be a good way of presenting yourself as someone who's not vanilla, who's not just kind of saying things to get along and saying things that are safe and what that you think people want to hear. Occasionally, do put out some, things that will create like a negative reaction. And then, of course, positive content is pretty self-explanatory. So you're actually saying things that are very supportive, very kind of positive, get people motivated. So again, if you're doing this sort of, it could be, say, if you're a singer, you could be like, these are the 3 secret tips that I use to so I can hit the extra notes, or I reached I can hit an extra octave with using this warm-up exercise, or something like that. That's giving someone something that they might already know, giving it away for free, and it's a positive thing that's going to help them and encourage them. And so again, a lot of that is really healthy to do, and it can align with your brand if you're being very authentic. If that's what your brand is, if it's about supporting people and encouraging people. So take what you like out of all that lot, and also origin stories and just telling stories. So, for example, my story is that one day I was I've been a musician for a long time. I had a guitar with me. One winter's day in Birmingham, I carried the guitar back from the repair shop, and I had no intention of playing it. I was just going to walk home. But then suddenly something grabbed me from inside, something motivated me to just start to play, to take my guitar out, to put the case on the ground like I saw the buskers do. And then I just started playing some of my own songs, not even cover versions. And lo and behold, it's something that I'd always wanted to do, but had a lot of fear. But in that moment, I had no fear. I had a lot of courage and confidence, and I was rewarded about a few minutes later when this girl came up and just said, "Hey, I really love your voice," and just threw some money in my case. And that was the kind of spark that ignited the fire for me of to continue busking, to get better at it, to buy more equipment, to tour, to go around the world doing it, to play more gigs. And it started my journey as a musician, as a live musician, as a professional musician. So that's my kind of story. So what's yours? Relay that story out in your content, and people can relate to it. Obviously your story might be different to mine, it might be the same, but you can embellish it, you can sort of add bits onto it, but generally that's my truth. That's what happened to me, and that's what got me into music, into this kind of phase of my life in the middle ages, if you like. My middle age, I was 40 when I started doing that, so it's kind of a bit late for a lot of people, but sometimes early for others. So that can be a good thing to use in your content as well. So this is all helps to build an audience, because obviously, it's about know, liking and trust. If get to know somebody and their story, then you get to like them over time. And then when they keep showing up consistently and telling you more about themselves and sharing more content and sharing things that might provoke you, or sharing things that might soothe you, sharing things about that you might relate to, you get to trust them, and then you buy into it. And it's the same with any business, but particularly if you're building a brand, and if you're a musician or an artist, you are the brand, you are the thing that people are buying into. So this is something you can't skip. You cannot skip this part. You cannot go, well, I just want to be I just want to put my music out there and just want people to listen to the music. Well, they don't just listen to the music. They want to know who you are. They want to buy into you, because otherwise, it's just a commodity, isn't it? They can just listen to any kind of music. They don't need to connect to it emotionally. But people do connect to music emotionally. That's why they become fans of bands. That's why they go and see them and buy into their stuff, buy their merch, pay to go and see them on tour, buy their videos, buy whatever it is, support them in some way. And so this is what you have to do. So I've put some more questions down below about how you can actually go about this in a systematic way, and to sort of dig a bit deeper into who your ideal fan is and what is their story. Getting to know your fans, where they're at and what speaks to them. So it's all very well, getting to know yourself and sharing yourself. That's one part of it, but it's also getting to know your fans and finding out where they're at. What do they like? What would they respond to? And that's really important when you're doing things like merch, for example. So, you know, with this one idea of merchandise is that you put, you know, your most poignant or your most powerful lyric on like the t-shirt. So people that aren't interested really in wearing your name or your brand, especially at this stage of your career, because you're relatively unknown. So people wearing your top, it's not the same as wearing like a Kanye West top or a Beyonce or a Ed Sheeran top, because people know what that is and that's almost the brand itself. But when you're unknown, no one's going to wear your name as a t-shirt or a cap because it doesn't mean anything. But if a lyric that people sing back to you, a lyric that's really profound in your songs, if you put that on there, then people are much likely to wear that as a statement they can get behind. So look at your lyrics as well. What are your lyrics? What lyrics have people commented on, or what line in a song or a title of a song really resonates with people, and use that as kind of like merch, or use that as your branding, or, you know, use that more frequently and explain what that is and sort of have that as a statement that people can get behind. So I could go on about this, but we're going to cut this video short because I've got things to do. I'm on a very tight schedule today. That could be my catchphrase. I'm on a very tight schedule. So with that being said, please like this video if you're enjoying it. Share it with someone who you think would appreciate it, and subscribe. And remember, rejection is just protection. Ridicule is fuel. And resilience leads to brilliance. Remember, check the questions down below and comment down below. Cut and paste one of the questions and answers. Post it down below. Be brave. Let me see you, what you're working on, how you're working it. And I'll see you tomorrow for part 3. Take care.